So as we're starting to work on our Arts Extravaganza logo, I want to make sure you guys know exactly how you're going to get started. You want to file, new, and you're going to go ahead and probably the easiest thing would be under your presets, going to US paper. That'll give you an 8.5 wide, 11 height, and a resolution of 300. Mine is also set at RGB color. Just make sure that you're matching all of this so you can work efficiently. Again, this could be grayscale, but I usually just keep it in RGB color all the time as I need to. Maybe I want to add something in there. At this stage, it is really important that as you're looking for clip art, so I shouldn't say as you're looking for clip art, but as you're looking for items that you're going to be using perhaps to trace in your logo or to manipulate for part of your logo, clip art, teapot. So let's say you are, I'm going to have to pick probably that one. Let's say you're really intrigued with using a teapot inside of your design. But that teapot is, again, that belongs to someone. We definitely don't want that to be directly used in your work. But there are things you can do in order to manipulate it. You can then take and trace it in Illustrator. You can start to build it here in Photoshop, whatever you wish. First thing that's bad is this, obviously. I'm going to go ahead and you can take your rectangular marquee and just draw like a little marquee around it. I'm going to nudge it up one. Let me get a little bit closer. I'm going to nudge it up one just with the arrows on my keyboard, and I can even hit the delete key. Now I could have also gone through and just selected my eraser. I would make sure it was a fully hardened eraser. I don't want it to be soft because I don't want to make this fuzzy. And I can go ahead and just carefully erase it like that as well. The rectangular marquee just helped me to not have to be so careful, we'll say, about it. Okay? So when you look at puppet work, I'm going to delete the white. If I turn this off, you'll see that I actually have white around here. I'll select it with my magic wand and I can press the delete key. There's a lot of different ways you can do that, but I can also work on my contiguous or hold down the shift key, etc. I'm going to go ahead and go up to edit. I'm going to go out to this little guy called puppet work. Notice again, I talked about the importance of working on different layers. Different layers are really important because you want to make sure that you're not going to end up with something that becomes warped on this layer along with the teapot. This is by itself, so that helps me a lot. Puppet warp, and you're going to see it's going to open what looks sort of like a spider's web or a mesh over the top of this teapot. When I start to put these, I just click with my mouse. These are pins, and those are setting almost like the joints on a skeleton, where those would allow you to bend something, okay? Those will be pivot points for this. So you're going to go ahead and put some pins, and you're going to say, how many pins do I put, Miss G? And the answer is trial and error. You're going to find that something may move when you don't want it to move. So you Control-Z undo, you set a pin, and then you try it again. So in this case, Control-Z is going to be one of your best friends. So definitely keep that in mind. Control-Z is really, really helpful. Now, when I go and I actually go over the top of one of the pins, I can actually move it now. I can actually adjust this. Let's say I want to adjust and make this teapot come up quite a bit more. Let's say I'm going to pull this up. And maybe I'll set another pin right there, so I can kind of pop that side out a little bit. Of course, mine might not be super elegant right now, but maybe I want to go ahead and give a little more curve, almost like a little elephant's trunk. Let's say I want to bring that side in. Maybe I'll make it scalloped and I'll really pinch that in. Okay? So these are all things that you can do with that puppet warp. And I might pull another pin right here so that that can come down a little bit more. But again, at this stage in time, once I am perhaps pleased with what it is I'm doing, I'm going to go ahead and press the Enter key on my keyboard. Once I press the Enter key, watch what happens. You're going to see the before move to the after. Okay? So if I Control-Z, that was before. This was after. Now at this stage, I may actually come in and maybe reshape it a little bit. Like let's say I draw a rectangular marquee down there and I press the delete key because it no longer had a flat bottom. Oops, sorry. it no longer had a flat bottom, and now I really want it to have a flat bottom. Or I come in with my eraser and I completely get rid of the top of that teapot. Let's say I'm going to shape that out a little bit more. And I'm going to make my brush black. I'm going to go to my brushes. I'm going to find, let's see what I have. I'm going to find the treble clef. I'll put that treble clef up here, but I'm actually going to go to my little brush cup. If you don't have that, go up to Window and Brush so that it pops that out for you. I can change my angle. Let's say that's maybe the angle I'm going to want with it. Or maybe I'll do it even more actually. I'm going to go ahead and rotate it even more. Maybe just a tiny bit more. So that, sorry. So that I can maybe I want to lay that up there as the top handle. Maybe that wasn't the best choice. But I think you're kind of getting the gist of the idea of how you can use other forms to help you build something and then add on to it with your brush work. I remind you, any brushes that I have downloaded so far, I've received requests. Those are in the P drive. If you go to your P drive, you're going to locate them in the classes, find my name, go to Teacher Handouts, and you'll find a folder called Brushes. If you would like some other brushes, if there's a special request, please come up and see me. I will save them. I will put them in there. Find brushes, and there's one for Arts Extravaganza. You're going to find that brush, and generally you just double click, and then when you go back to Photoshop, you might want to switch tools real quick to make sure everything was updated. But then you scroll all the way to the bottom, and you should find the latest brushes. So again, I think that that's going to be a lot of what you need in order to be successful on this piece. That's how you get started. Don't forget, rename your layers. Make new layers so that you can actually have different maybe components on each of these layers to keep everything pretty nicely organized. So please keep all that in mind as you guys are working. Have good method, but realize every day you're going to be expected to push more and more along. This is not going to be a project that's going to last 12 years. So please remember, you want to push yourself ahead of the schedule right now so that you're not scrambling at the end to do a really cool design work. Your text, if you have a font that you really need me to download, same search rules apply. All you have to do is email me the font that you're interested in and what computer you work on. I will put in a request for tech to update your computer so that you get that font put in there so that it's maybe a more unique font to you. Now realize that you'll find, you see I've got a Pokemon font in there, you'll find a lot of these are going to be really usable, but a lot of them are also going to be very difficult to read. You critiqued a lot of those from last year. You saw what went well and what didn't go so well. So please remember, your lettering is of utmost importance. You want to make sure that people know this is for Arts, plural, Extravaganza. You also want people to know that this is for CHSD 218 Education Foundation. This is a huge, huge event for them every year, and they support us so wonderfully in our department. So I want to make sure that you guys are supporting them with making sure that these words are in there, as well as all of our areas in our arts fields. Okay? So pretty much, don't forget, you want to make sure you're watching out for spelling errors as well. So if I type something in, and let's see what's up. Notice it didn't come up, and at that point you usually panic and something's wrong. Tells me either I'm typing in a color that's the same as my background, or in this case, my font is way too big. So what I actually do is I press Control A. Control A selects everything that I have that's on this layer. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make it smaller. There it is. I typed in hello. Okay. So I can right click here and no, I think maybe it has to be selected. Sorry, don't use it that much, but here, there we go. Right click on the actual text box and check your spelling. This one's going to come up. Suggestions. What did you mean? In this case, I meant to say hello. Done. Okay. And hopefully he'll change it in just a minute, but I'm going to stop the video. Even if it doesn't, for some reason, change it, you now know to change it. Click off of it and it's now part of what you need. So again, those are just some things that you can use to help make sure your design is at the utmost quality level, definitely, that you're capable of. Have fun with it, make it high quality, make it creative and individual per you, and really enjoy it.